Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Always Moving podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lyndon Suvanto, and we are back for episode number 6. Now, I haven't recorded in a little while here, and, things got a little hectic, or I got distracted with something else, and a lot of moving pieces here. But I'm here, I'm ready to record, and I got to thank several people that reached out and asked, when's the next episode going to come out? So I appreciate that. It means someone's actually listening and enjoying it. So thank you very much. Quick little update, because I've kind of been throwing these fantasy football updates or about my Ravens. Ravens are right back on track. We're looking good. We're going to win tomorrow. No problem. But fantasy football's stupid, and I hate it, and I don't plan on ever doing it again until next season starts. It's just one of those things. If you play fantasy sports, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Someone will get injured, or someone will just play badly or whatnot, and then you'll lose to some BS missed field goal, and then your season's over, and you just got to pay some jackass some money at the end of the year. And I hate it. But at the same time, I love it. Either way, that's my little blurb. The teams are not doing well for me this year, but it's still fun. I still love it, and I'll still look at my phone every day for hours trying to find the missing piece from my team. Before I get into today's subject, I want to shout out to Freddie Freeman and Jose Abreu winning the NL and AL MVPs. I think that's pretty awesome, and I was happy to see it. So anyway, I don't know what you're doing today, but if you're in one of the countries with full lockdown or limited things you can actually do, you're probably sitting at home or at your partner's home, and that's all well and good, but I'm sure most of us would rather be out traveling or going out to restaurants with a large group of friends or going dancing or whatnot. And now out here in Alberta, it's been snowing, so that just seems to put more of a limit on what you can actually do. So, I mean, it's kind of boring, and kind of weighs on the spirit a little. But I'm always finding ways to stay positive or try to stay interactive with friends, or albeit family. Just kidding, they're all right. Anywho, the more and more I sit here, say stuck at home after work, and now we can't even play sports for 2 weeks, so now I've got even less things to do. But the more and more I sit here, things will pop up on social media or my laptop backgrounds or just on the wall in my room of all the places I've been traveling and all the fun little adventures that I've had, and I've shared some with you, and I'll share more later on. But as dumb as it sounds, and not as dumb as it sounds, but as say common as it sounds, I miss traveling, and I'm sure everyone's thinking the same thing. And yeah, we're all in the same kind of boat here. I miss traveling, but I'm even missing the things that happen on the airplane or in the airport, which are normally maybe annoying or quite dull or boring, but being stuck at home is, I don't know, slightly better, but what have you. So I'm missing just those little things. Like, you get through security and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? Grab a coffee. I got time here, sit here, charge my phone, because they're always dead somehow right through security. And then it got me thinking, like, I've had a lot of positive, hectic moments in airports or taking buses into cities or whatnot, and I'm like, man, this would be pretty good. I wonder what you guys have experienced through airports, if it's just real standard, get through, sit down, maybe grab a bite to eat that costs 10 times as much in the outside world. But I was thinking, like, man, I miss just these little moments. Like, the first one I thought of was when I was moving to Denmark for the first time, and I was going with my buddies Daryl and Garrett, and we're sitting at the Edmonton airport. We pick up some Tim Hortons. We're on the other side of the airport, and we're like, "Oh, what time we supposed to board, or what time should we go over there?" And our friend Garrett, so confidently said, "Guys, we're bathing in time." And seemingly right after he said that, there was an announcement over the intercom of the airport. Uh, Final call for passengers, Garrett, Lyndon, and Daryl. It's like, oh, God, we have to sprint all the way across the airport. And we had to get to, obviously, our lineup. But it was just like, bathing in time, eh, Garrett? He's the same guy who also says his time frames are just atrociously off. And I don't know if they've changed, but when we lived together in Denmark, he would say, "Oh man, that was like 3 weeks ago," and it was like 3 hours before. So maybe we put all our eggs in the wrong basket there to get us there on time. So either way, we make it to the plane. There's actually so much that happened on just this little trip getting to the school. So we get on the plane, and then this German guy just who was sitting in front of me in the plane just threw his seat back, and oh man, I'm really split on if you should be able to tilt your chairs back on the plane, because if you're my height or taller, or you just don't fit as well in the chairs, that slight tilt of the chair is an absolute game changer in all the worst ways. So this guy, this guy tilts his chair back on me. I'm like, "Man, can you like move this?" And he's like, just completely, "No, no, I'm not doing it." And like, just gets upset about it. And like, "Oh well, this is this trip is just going splendidly. Like, what else is gonna happen? Like, flying all the way to Denmark with this guy's chair right all up in me." So it's like, okay, 0 for 2. So we'll land in Copenhagen. We're golden. We're gonna be fine. We made it to Denmark, and then we land in Denmark, and yeah, my baggage is lost. It's like, wow, this trip is fantastic. This was the first time I was moving overseas, and it's like, wow, this trip couldn't get any worse. And then my baggage isn't there. So thankfully, I was traveling with some good friends, and Daryl, great guy that he is, he said, "Hey man, don't worry. You can carry some of my luggage and make it feel like you have your own." And I'm like, I kind of gave him this look, and I'm just like, "You son of a bitch." So I ended up carrying his bag, and eventually the bag would arrive at the school in Aarhus. But it was just like, oh man, my first real introduction to, say, moving abroad, and it was a shit show. And it always kind of works out like that. And then the more and more I traveled, the more and more I got used to it. Then you're able to brush off, say, something that happens, or you're able to adapt to it, or you have like a kind of like a tip or a trick about how you get through it. And and sometimes it doesn't matter how experienced you are, shit will happen. And then from there, it got me to think. We were on a national team trip in Mexico City. So when you come into Mexico City, you have to fill out like an immigration card, like a little declaration, and it's like the size of a sheet of your passport. So you just kind of, normally you would just kind of slip it into your passport, and then they say when you're leaving the country, return this to them. Make sure you take care of it. Make sure you save it, whatever. So it's like, okay, I slipped in my passport. Didn't think about it again. You can probably guess where this is going. So we have the tournament in Mexico City, or it was a training camp, it was a training camp. We played a couple teams there, and then we're flying back, and like, I'm a bit hungover, and not feeling great, and like the pants I'm wearing, for some reason, the more I would wear them or sweat, they would just kind of, the waistband would like expand. So I'm already having issues with like my pants staying up. And then it's like, okay, time to board the flight. we're headed back to Canada. Let's go. Like, I'm ready to go home type thing. So we get to the security gate, and then the person's like, your little declaration card, can I have that? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I remember filling it out. So I put my bag down, go flip through all the pages in my passport. That's not there. Like, okay. I must have just put it in my bag. So then I check all the pockets of my bag, and I don't find this damn thing. And then, like, everyone else from Alberta that I was traveling back with, Zoran, Dan, Tyrell, and Richie, they all have their cards. They're all crossing through, and it's just like, I don't have this damn card. Like, what the hell am I going to do? So I talked to the person in the front. I'm like, I can't find this card. They go, what should I do? And they're like, you have to run over to this spot, which is just miles away. And they're like, you got to run over here, talk to this person. They'll help you out. So it's already hot. We're in Mexico. It's hot. My pants aren't staying up. I'm a bit hungover and tired, and I'm just running full steam through this airport to get to this one spot in kind of this middle-ish area of the whole airport. So I get there. I explain the thing. I'm like, oh, I'm at gate whatever. I don't have this card. They told me to run to you. And then they looked at me like no one had ever posed this question to them before. So I'm like, well, what the hell do I do? And they're like, well, go back to your gate and talk to the people. So I run all the way back. By the time I get back to my gate, I'm holding my pants up with one hand. The other arm's waving, holding my passport and whatever other junk I had. I get back to the gate, and I'm just absolutely dripping in sweat. And I'm just breathing. This is post-tournament, so I'm already tired. And they're like, you know what, just go on. And I'm just thinking, like, as I use my shirt to wipe the sweat on my forehead, I'm thinking, man, why didn't you just do this the first time? So I get it. Eventually, I come down the aisle to the plane, and I sit right next to Dan, and I am just drenched in sweat. And he just bursts out laughing at me. And I'm just like, man, just don't even say it. Like, what the hell was this? They just had me sprint a couple times. And maybe they just were being nice and saying I needed to get some more running in. But I tell you, nothing more uncomfortable than getting on a plane absolutely dripping in sweat. And I just sit in that chair, and I'm like, you know what? I'm on the damn plane. Like, let's go. And then, like, halfway through the flight, I look at my passport, and the stupid card is sitting right there. I don't know how I missed it flipping through like 3 times, but my stupid declaration card's there. And I'm like, Dan, yeah, my card was here the whole time. And then he just laughs at me like, oh my God, what a shit show that was. And it's like these little times like that just your heart's racing, you're panicking, like, what's going to happen? Am I going to miss this flight? Like, I'm completely boned here. And I kind of missed that. And it's, I don't know. At the time, it's not enjoyable, but looking back now, they're hilarious moments, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm usually much better prepared than that, so that doesn't really happen much, but I'm excited to be in an airport again, because good things happen in airports too. So I remember we did a handball trip. We went to Norway in Molde with some of the guys. We did a trip there, and it's a great trip. We had Christmas over there. I remember we were in like the president of the main club there. We stayed in an apartment of his, or a house of his, and there was just a couple of the guys before everyone else showed up, and we were playing Christmas music, and they brought us a box of chocolates on Christmas morning, and it was a great trip. I loved it. We jumped into the freezing cold ocean at the end of the tournament, or at the end of the games and everything. So either way, the same group of us that were there early, we were all flying back together, and we get to London, and we're waiting in the London airport, and we're all kind of hungry, but no one has like money on them or cash, and people don't want to withdraw or owe anyone else money. This is before like e-transferring or Apple Pay or all that stuff was the popular jazz. So it was kind of, you had the money you had on you, and that's where you went with. So there's like 6 of us or 7, something like that. And Matt Ruff and I, we take the people's. We're like, okay, guys, what kind of change do you guys have? There's a horse betting like booth or shop. I don't know what you would call it, an off-track betting place in the London airport in Stansted. And we're like, okay, we're gonna pool our money together and we're gonna see what we can do. So we go there with like £2.60 or something. Like, we didn't have much of anything. And we go, and Ruff and I are there, and we're just like, this horse. This is the first time I bet on horse racing, and it was the funnest thing. Mostly probably because we were winning, but we're like, okay, I like this guy in this race. Like, put what we got on this, and then we'd hit, and we'd win, and then we'd win. And we passed like so much time in the airport, just turning like £2.60 into like 80 pounds. Like, Ruff and I are on an absolute heater, and everyone knows you don't walk away from a heater. So we ended up paying for lunch for everybody, and that was one of those like great times spent in the airport. We just put it all on a bunch of horses, and we flipped the cash we had, and yeah, I love those moments. Even if it's by yourself or you're in a group of people, like on these handball trips, those are the parts of the trips as they're the least popular time. They're everyone's least exciting time, but they're awesome. Like, it could be getting a drink with some of the guys at the bar in the airport, or you're playing some kind of who can do the most push-ups or whatever. These little moments you spend with your teammates or your travel partners, or I miss those. When I was in Ireland with Daryl again, great travel buddy, he is always looking out for me to carry his stuff when I lose mine. But we both had long hair at the time, and we're in line. We look like backpackers, real scuzzy, and we were total scuzzy through that whole trip, buying like day of expired meat and taking condiments from like Burger King, and like we were hitting the bottom of the barrel. But we're in line in Dublin Airport, and there's two tall guys with long hair that look a bit rough, and wouldn't you know it, security walks straight to us with their dogs and ask us to put our bags down, and the 2 long-haired guys happen to be randomly searched in this line in Dublin. But then as we put our bags down, and they're smelling like, obviously we didn't have anything or whatever, we didn't have any drugs, what they're looking for, some real shady character just kind of slinks his way around a corner into a bathroom, and no, they just didn't notice that guy. He looked that guy was shady, to say the least. But yeah, I love those moments. They always come up with they always create a good story, because airports are a nightmare, and like, but at the same time they're awesome, and I love them. I have the best moment in an airport, but I'm going to save that to the very last story. Before I get to the best one, the last one is actually being on the plane, which a lot of people don't like, because if you're flying, usually where I'm going, it's 8+ hours. Like, it's super long. You're flying overnight, and there's just two little things from actually being on the airplane that stuck out to me when I was thinking about this episode. Was little trick or little pointer. If, say, it's the nighttime, everyone's sleeping or whatnot, or it's not that busy, just go to the bathroom and just hang out in the bathroom. You could put the seat down or the lid down and just sit on it, put your feet up, kick back, and it's like, no, I'm just using the bathroom, but you're actually in there just listening to some music, feet up, seated down. And yeah, that's a little trick I picked up along the way, and maybe it's frowned upon because maybe people have to use bathrooms. But if it's a bigger plane, there's a lot of bathrooms. Hold it, okay? Because I got to listen to my Lenny Kravitz and stretch my legs out. So that's a little pointer or a little tip I'd give you. Just try it out next time. Just be like, you know what? Especially if it's those center bathrooms in the middle of a big plane where it's like you could do jumping jacks in there. Probably wouldn't suggest that, but like, you know, they're real spacious. Yeah, just kick back, throw your feet up, just enjoy it. The one story that I always laugh about when I see it or I see one of the movies that it's tied to was the first time I watched the Disney movie Coco, and there's a documentary called Next Goal Wins about the American Samoa soccer team who was ranked the last place soccer team in the world, and they had the biggest loss in World Cup qualifying, and they were just real bad. And then like an American coach goes to the American Samoa team and he helps them, and you fall in love with the players on the team, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful documentary, and I suggest you watch it. If you're a sports fan or if you have a heart whatsoever, I suggest you try to check it out. It's called Next Goal Wins. But when I watch this, normally I'd probably end up crying watching it anyway. But I watched this right after Pan Am Games in 2015 in Toronto. And it was like the end of the tournament, flying back. And the documentary is about this team that comes together and all the emotion that go into it, like the loss they suffer and the successes they have as a team. And I'm just on this plane, just bawling my eyes out. And it's just like, I'm like 6'2", 240, 235, and I'm just on this plane, just bawling my eyes out. And like the stewardess walks by and she kind of does like a double take as I'm sitting there, just tears flowing down my face. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's just a good movie. Just a good movie. So I suggest you watch that documentary. And I like to think back, it's a funny story. You see me bawling and crying, but if you can get so invested in a movie on a plane, hell, you got yourself a good travel day, because you're able to put aside how you don't fit in the damn chairs, or the kid behind you is booting the back of your chair and the guy in front of you is just tilted right back in your face. But if you're writing that movie and you're bawling your eyes out, be proud. Be proud because you had yourself a good travel day. Not that you're less of a man and you're crying on the plane. No. Be proud. Anything, you're more of a man. So that now I'll just go to my last story, because Next Goal Wins. Check it out. But that bawling on the airplane was one of my most memorable, I guess, moments on an actual plane. And then I'm gonna go to the best moment in an airport, hands down. We had the gambling I won, or I finally get on a damn plane, or you meet random people, or you see celebrity, like I saw some of the Team Canada hockey players, or you'll see whatever. But this one, oof. This was one of the few times I didn't feel bad about spending any money at the airport. I was flying to South Korea, and I had a layover in Taipei, but it was a long layover, so I went into Taipei. I took the train in, and I went and explored the city and got some delicious food. And it's like, oh, take advantage. If you're in these cities for a 12-hour layover or something, just step out of the airport, go check it out. So either I went to Taipei, it's super humid, it was super hot. It was a great day. Like, it was an awesome place to visit, and I want to go back and spend more time. But I was just walking the whole way, and I get back to the airport, and I'm not that fresh, flying all the way to Taipei from Edmonton, Vancouver, then across the Pacific Ocean. I'm less than, you're not going to want to sit next to me on a plane, especially after walking through Taipei for 7 hours or 8 hours, whatever I did. So I go and I just say, you know what? Screw this. I'm I'm getting one of these showers. And oh my God, like a midway layover shower. I had the whole room, just lock the door, you put music on, and I'm just having a damn shower in Taipei Airport. And let me tell you this, that was worth every bit of money. I don't even know what I paid. It hasn't affected me to this day. So one of the best expenses I've ever incurred during traveling. I tell you, if you're going through one of those, if you like book some stupid flight where it's like 36 hours of travel and you're in airports the whole time, go take one of those damn showers. And I tell you, you pack like your spare clothes in your carry-on bag. You put on fresh clothes, fresh undies, new socks, or if you're sandals, whatever you're wearing. Whew, baby. Hot dog, we've got a wiener, because that was a hell of a shower. So these are just some of the stories I felt like sharing. I thought it would be kind of fun and entertaining. If you're following me on Instagram, that's currently all I have set up for now. We'll see kind of how far I want to go with the social medias and stuff. But if you shoot me a message, or I'm going to post a picture about this episode, I'd love to hear maybe one of your favorite stories. Shoot me a DM or whatever, and maybe I'll share it in the next episode. But what are some of the worst or best times you've had at airports or on planes? Hopefully not terrifying, because I've had a couple questionable turbulences and landings. Those are maybe best for another time. But if you have a real positive experience or a funny story or an absolute shit show of a day in an airport or getting to a location, I'd love to hear about it. So shoot me a DM, and we'll go from there. Other than that, my friends, that will be episode 6 of the Always Moving podcast. I hope you stay safe out there. It's turned to winter, so, get your winters on. Put some weight in your trunk if you're rear-wheel drive, because my Mustang kicks out a bit when I didn't have any weight in it. Other than that, thank you very much for the support. I will do my best to get episodes out every week. I'm going to record a couple today, I think, or this weekend, and then have them good to go. And for some reason, it's hella impossible to get certain guests as guests on the show, but we have some people I've talked to, and hopefully some good shows with actual guests on too. So if you're sick and tired of listening to me, but you just love the title of the show, the Always Moving Podcast, I appreciate it and look forward to recording the next one for you guys. So either way, stay safe, wear your mask, I guess. I'm going to do that. I'm going to shout out one of those. Keep your mask on, stay safe, don't drink and drive, dress properly for the weather. All the best from your host, Lyndon Suvanto. As always, this has been the Always Moving Podcast, and let's keep this thing moving.